Bueno, seguimos aquí con el vídeo donde lo dejé. Y bueno, la siguiente pista, bueno, he visto en varios sitios. Así que vamos a la siguiente. Que sería por aquí.
This car looks too classy for a forger like Boccherini.
Y nos encontramos con un coche.
Are there sufficient reasons to believe that when the murderer attacked Boccherini, there was someone else in the house? The first possibility to be ruled out is that the car belonged to Boccherini. Let's take a look in the glove compartment. Bingo! A man's cigarette case. OB, one of the Boccherini clan? Vermont plates. Someone drove a long way.
Vamos al tablón. Mierda.
The first possibility to be ruled out is that the initials OB on a cigarette case. A car with Vermont plates. 1. It has Vermont plates. 2. It's too luxurious for a criminal of his standing. 3. The initials on the cigarette case don't match his name. The next possibility that needs to be ruled out is that the car was stolen. There should be evidence that there was someone else in the house.
Y aún no tengo. Así que vamos a seguir buscando pistas.
The blood comes from the other side of the corridor and ends next to the body. He was attacked in the other room and dragged to the hall.
Por cierto, muchísima sangre. Creo que está bastante exagerado, pero bueno.
The evidence suggests that the events began in the lounge. How did Boccherini encounter his murderer?
Se supone que solo tenemos 5 litros.
Whatever crushed the table must have been really heavy, or maybe it was thrown extremely hard. A perfectly circular dint, as if someone had tried to hammer in a gigantic bolt, around 4 inches in diameter. Fingernails scratched the wood. Blood ran like water. Did it break during the struggle, or was it already broken? Blood. Blood everywhere. What kind of person takes off a wristwatch without unfastening it? Or fastens the strap again after taking it off?
Hay gente para que se quede menos espacio.
This was opened recently.
Vale, si tomamos whisky nos da la opción aquí de beber otra vez.
Smells of whiskey.
Al no haberlo tomado.
glass on the floor indicates the window was broken from outside. There's something under there. How'd it wind up under there? Not one round fired. It must have happened fast.
Y claro, si hubieran disparado probablemente alguien hubiera llamado a la policía. Bueno, es esto. Vamos. El asalto.
How did Boccherini encounter his murderer? Pieces of glass from the window in the hall, found inside the house. A pistol, fully loaded.
Y...
A broken whiskey glass, found in the dining room.
Bueno.
An open bottle of whiskey. I'd say Boccherini was drinking in the dining room when his assailant burst in through the window. Boccherini pulled his gun, but the murderer disarmed him before he could shoot. Where did the torture begin? A broken table, scratched and covered in blood. A blood-stained wristwatch, with a glass broken and a strap fastened. Two pools of blood, one on either side of the dining. The bloodstains show that the murderer began to torture Boccherini on the dining table itself. That was where his hands were torn off. As a result, his wristwatch fell to the ground. How did the body reach its current position? The trail of blood from the dining room to the hall.
Ah, se me ha olvidado. Cosas. ¿Qué? Sería ahí una pista.
Takes a strong man to tear that out, or several.
Lo único que veo raro es un ventilador de aspas supuestamente en el recibidor, pero bueno. O a lo mejor era de aquí. A ver si... No. Yo qué sé, hicieron un descuento por comprar un huevo de ellos en grupo. No sé.
The lamp, torn off its brackets and blocking the stairs. Boccherini, already minus hands, was dragged into the hall, where the murderer used the brackets of the lamp to complete his macabre diorama.
A lo mejor lo utilizaba para que hubiera mucho flujo de aire en toda la habitación. Vale, hasta luego. Ahora estoy solo en casa. Cuchillos rectos, cuchillos curvos.
One knife's missing, the biggest one.
Hombre, ya que estás te llevas el grande.
Shut from the inside.
A menos que
It
sepa
opens onto the
contrapertura,
same
que
room
lo
as the jammed door in the corridor. What is it with Italians and olives? They lap those things up like caviar.
Hombre, no creo que tan.
Like a true bachelor, he should have put these into soak. Hours of scraping to get them clean. Although at this stage, I don't think Boccherini's too worried about that.
Por cierto,
Four
aunque
glasses, two of water,
la tecla S,
two of
puedo utilizar el
wine.
botón izquierdo, así que no...
I've always been a whiskey man, but I know a good wine when I see one.
Es más cómodo.
Leftover lasagna, and it looks good. Why is it that 2 out of 3 Italian gangsters are great cooks? I'll never understand what the deal is with them in cooking. The plates and the glasses leave no room for doubt. Boccherini had company for dinner.
Lo dice el policía que abrió un restaurante, pero bueno. Ah, no sé. Volvemos al coche,
A
invitar.
broken whiskey glass found in the dining room. Dirty plates, glasses, and silverware from a dinner for two. The dirty dishes and glasses prove that Boccherini ate lasagna with one other person.
Hombre,
Was
también puede
Boccherini's
ser
guest still in the house when the murderer showed up? A broken whiskey
el
glass
típico
found in
japonés
the
que
dining
come
room.
con su muñeca. De hecho, un plato estaba acabado y el otro estaba prácticamente intacto.
A door in the corridor jammed shut. It opens onto the same room as the locked door in the kitchen. Was Boccherini's guest still in the house when the... A door in the kitchen, locked from the inside. It opens onto the same room as the What looks like the bottom of a broken glass, buried in... It seems clear that Boccherini and his guest were drinking when the murderer took them by surprise. The real question is, what happened to the witness? Did they escape? Did the murderer take them? Or are they still in the house?
A Boccherini le llegó directamente
A door in the
por la
kitchen,
vida.
locked. A door in the corridor jammed shut. It opens onto the same room as the... One locked door could be a coincidence, but two locked doors which open onto the same room can't be. Either I'm completely wrong, or the witness is in that room. But I need Milton to open one of those doors.
Mr. Ness, can you open the door for me?
It was open. Why did you ring?
I thought I should use the doorbell so I wouldn't startle you.
When I came in, I pressed the doorbell and it didn't work.
Well, in light of the facts, I deduced that it was your finger that wasn't working. So, what can you tell me to restore my faith in you as a detective?
What is that?
Not a good start. It's a camera, so Alphonse can see all this.
All right. Follow me. Boccherini had company for dinner. Someone from Vermont with the initials OB. Someone whose social status was a lot higher, but who was on the same side of the law. He served lasagna, and after clearing away the dishes, they opened a bottle of whiskey in the dining room. That was when the murderer burst in on them, coming through the window which he broke with his own body weight. Boccherini, or maybe his guest, pulled a gun, but it was a waste of time. The murderer was so fast he was disarmed before he could fire. He focused his attention on Boccherini, totally ignoring the guest, and lifted him up into the air. He then threw him against the dining room table so hard that one of the glasses of whiskey was embedded in Boccherini's back. He span around, clawing at the table, and immediately afterwards the murderer ripped off his hands. I have no idea how he did it, but all the evidence suggests he just pulled. Blood sprayed everywhere. The wristwatch fell to the ground. He dragged him through the corridor into the hall. He tore down the lamp, hung him from the brackets, and stabbed steel rods through his body. He skewered him on the iron bars, possibly taken from the fence outside, and pulled out his teeth one by one. Finally, he scooped out his eyes with a teaspoon. Boccherini must have been dead when the murderer went to the bathroom with his hands in his teeth. There, he arranged them to make an altar, weaving the fingers together and placing the teeth inside. Next, he painted something on the wall in blood, a symbol which I don't recognize, but which could have some kind of ritualistic significance. When he'd finished his artwork, he left. I don't know what he did with the eyes.
You're telling me that someone did all this armed with a teaspoon?
More or less.
And you worked all this out on your own-some, just by looking?
More or less.
I don't know which of the two of you scares me more. Wait a second. What about the guest?
Right. Come with me. Nothing.
Turns out Mr. Untouchable isn't infallible. But you were close. Congratulations.
This must be Boccarini's office. Let's take a quick look around.
All yours.
Pero antes te voy a hacer las preguntitas.
We've lost the only lead we had to help us find Sophia Capone.
You think Boccarini's murder could be related?
Maybe. It's hard to say. You're at a crime scene, and you sit down to read?
Titus Andronicus. One of the actors on the Hindenburg lent it to me. They're performing it soon. You couldn't ask for more appropriate reading material. Murder, mutilation, torture. Shakespeare's got it all.
Why'd you go to jail?
For murder, but...
You didn't do it, of course.
Of course I did it. But I didn't intend to.
Sí, esto es un poquito chorra, pero... Chan, chan.
Jesus, there's at least $1 million here.
Y aquí es cuando desaparece la pasta.
Boccarini's?
I'd be surprised. Probably his guests, and I doubt it was to pay Boccarini for his services. None of his forgeries are worth that much.
Vale. No me puedo
The
echar.
driver's license of one John Martinson and Osmond Burke. O.B.
Do we know him?
The eldest son of the richest family in Vermont, convicted rapist. He was arrested thanks to the testimony of his father, who wound up disinheriting him. He escaped from prison last week. He broke into the family home and slit the throats of all his relatives one by one, opened the safe, and got away with a fortune.
They don't make jails like they used to.
Carlo, I have the goods for O.B., but I have to take the children to school tomorrow and I can't make the meetup. Friday, same time, same place. It's signed N.I.
These initials are getting to be a pain in the ass, right?
I have to take the kids to school tomorrow. I don't think this is some loving divorced daddy, Milton.
I take back what I just said. All starting to add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Out! Out!
Mierda. Vale, y aquí veis qué pasa cuando fallamos.
All starting to add up, isn't it?
Pues bueno, que lo reintenta
Out of my
rapidito.
way! Out!
Milton! Milton!
You're doing fine on your own, Mr. Ness. I believe in you.
Confío en un viejale. En buena forma, no te digo yo que no, pero... Sí, sé que parece cutre un poco la manera que tiene el tío de atacar, pero bueno, no todo el mundo sabe pelear.
Get out of my way, I said! He's coming back!
Who's coming back?
Him! The monster!
The guy who killed Boccarini?
He was a monster! Oh, get your hands off me, Negro!
What was he like? Describe him for me.
He was a monster. Red and black. I mean, his head reached the ceiling. He tore off his hands with his claws! It was a monster! A monster!
Should I hit him again?
Qué dramatismo.
Burke, shut up! You're Osmond Burke, right?
Yes.
Good. Now pay attention, Burke, because I have a question for you. Who is this money for?
Nikolai Ivankov.
Rings a bell.
One of Capone's right-hand men 20 years ago. What does this stuff about kids mean?
I don't know.
Calm down, Burke. You were going to meet up with him, right?
Yes, at the docks, berth 42, right next to where the Alligator 3 is moored.
So what's the meetup time?
Tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? No, it's going to be tonight. Don't get too comfortable. We'll be there in no time.
Bueno, si queréis saber dónde lo mando, tendréis que esperar al próximo vídeo. Hasta luego.